When ambition meets automation, what could really go wrong? Well, we never know. Let's be honest. Job seekers are under a lot of pressure. But what happens when that pressure leads to actually some of these shortcuts that we've seen, powered by this beautiful thing called AI? These are the 5 most unethical uses of AI in the job search and the devastating consequences if you actually get caught. So please do not do it. There's obviously the dark side to AI in the job market, cheating the job market itself. The first one that we can actually talk about is resume fabrication with AI. As I've said before in the last couple of videos, in seconds, AI tools can actually craft the perfect resume, but perfect doesn't always mean it's true. That's one of the things that we've actually learned. AI tools can generate fake degrees. They can actually generate fake work experiences and also even inflate job titles. Some people come up with these titles that you look at and you're like, this is the perfect person that I'm looking for. The other thing that we also have is that tools like ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, or some of these custom GPTs can actually make it sound a lot more credible. Sometimes too credible if you actually look at that resume. Now, one of the things that I've seen before in the past is where people say, please don't use AI. I'm saying use AI, but use it as a guiding tool, not as the be all and the end all. Here's one fact that we've got. 39% of the hiring managers say they've actually encountered AI generated resumes with completely falsified experiences. Think about that. 39%. That's almost 50%. 11% shy of 50%. Where managers have said, we've actually seen CVs that are AI generated and with completely falsified experiences. Now, there are obviously real consequences when it comes to this. For example, one of those biggest consequences that you will have is offer being rescinded once references don't actually check out. Because in most cases, some companies still do references where they'll call and say, did this person do XYZ? Number 2 is blacklisted by recruiters and hiring platforms where you could actually get blacklisted. And then the third thing is internal fraud investigation if discovered post-hiring. And remember, if they do discover that you actually lied, you could get investigated and actually be let go. And this is actually one of the worst things that could ever happen to your career. The second way in which people actually cheat when it comes to the job search is AI-powered interview cheating. This one is a bit more sophisticated than we've actually seen. Unfortunately, some people actually use AI not just for prep, but they actually cheat live interviews. Whispering ChatGPT responses through your AirPods in Zoom interviews where people are actually interviewing you, using real-time voice assistant software to actually feed answers from off the screen. One of the things that we've actually learned is that people actually sometimes will have ChatGPT there listening to obviously the interview and it will not necessarily respond out loud, but it'll type out that information and people can actually read what it's saying. And one of the worst things that we've actually seen is even deepfake voice tools mimicking accents to just sound a bit more professional. One of the things that would happen in most of these interviews that whenever there's a follow-up in those questions, people tend to fall short because sometimes you'll find that the follow-up comes immediately after you've just answered and it doesn't give you enough time to actually give answers that AI is already outputting whenever you try to answer. And that's how people normally get caught. There are also real consequences when it comes to this. You can actually be disqualified on the spot because obviously people can catch that you're actually cheating. Recruiters also flag candidates in applicant tracking systems. Most of the applicant tracking systems that we sometimes also use that unfortunately we can't always flag you and it's not legally allowed to actually flag people or actually put that. And then in the regulated industries like banking, defense, or any other industries, this can also trigger formal bans. And remember, when it comes to some of these industries, whatever you actually do reflects a lot more on the industry that you are in and the type of job that you're doing. And it could be one of the worst things that could ever happen to you and your career. The third thing that we've also seen is fake LinkedIn profiles and fake job histories. Now, we've seen where people sometimes go a bit far and beyond and you look at this profile and you're like, but that kind of history shouldn't have existed because that skill that they're talking about is only 5 years old and they seem to have actually been doing that 10, 15 years ago. Think catfishing is just for dating? Well, you have to think again. AI tools can actually create hyper-realistic headshots of people who don't even exist. I've actually used ChatGPT before to try and ask it to create hyper-realistic headshot picture of what it thinks I look like. Well, let's just say the results were not as I expected. There's also fake profiles with stolen or imagined credentials, which are also uploaded to job boards and LinkedIn. That's also one of the worst things that you can also find sometimes these days because of AI. And it's a lot easier. Some are actually being used for phishing and corporate espionage. Think about it this way, where somebody actually puts a fake profile from some reputable company and actually puts all this information only to start getting information or gathering information from different people. Unfortunately, some of these things do happen. And what LinkedIn has been doing in the last couple of years is trying to make sure that people actually verify their LinkedIn profile using their company email addresses. It hasn't always worked because it only works in certain countries but doesn't work in some countries, and works for some companies and doesn't work for all the other companies. LinkedIn reported removing over 21.6 million fake accounts in 2023 alone. So just think about how many accounts exist 2 years later, now in 2025. There's also some real consequences to this. Immediate account suspension, obviously, on LinkedIn, which means you might not be able to ever use that email address account that you've actually had. Companies that actually hire these profiles face legal and financial or security risks, because some of these things you find that the person doesn't really exist at all, and they've got all these other fabricated things. And then there's also some of the consequences could be legal action for identity fraud, data manipulation, or any other thing that you might have actually looked at. So please, if you like playing around with these tools, do not play around when it comes to that particular space, because also you're now creating a disadvantage for other people that do have the skills that company is looking for. And then number 4 is emotionally manipulative AI cover letters. A great cover letter used to be a sign of good effort. Now it might actually be a sign of AI. The truth is, AI writes better cover letters than anybody could ever write it for you. And that's why I always encourage people to say, if a company is requesting for a cover letter, one of the best things that you can actually do is just go to AI, load your CV into that AI and say, please help me using this job description, and then paste the job description, write a better cover letter that I can actually use for this particular job. It'll write one of the best cover letters that you look for. However, AI tools write emotionally gripping and highly personalized letters in seconds, because that's all you have to do. That prompt and it's done, and you already have that information in seconds. Some applicants also use fake hardship stories where people start talking a lot more about themselves. False diversity claims whenever it comes to some of these things, when it comes to diversity and inclusion, or even exaggerated passions where they speak about things that way they'll have to actually rescue little puppies because they know some people love those. Up to 22% of AI generated cover letters in 2024 study contained fictitious emotional narratives. Think about it, where people are writing these very sobby stories and they're not sticking to the facts. In most cases, I always tell anybody that I speak to say, please avoid the emotions when it comes to cover letters and stick to the facts, because in most cases, the manager really wants to see why you stand up for that particular job. The second thing is candidates lose credibility, especially when interviews reveal the truth. You've been gripping in your story and they read it and they're like, oh, we want to ask him these questions. Perceived manipulation equals instant trust erosion. People don't trust you anymore if they feel that you have actually been deceptive in everything that you've actually done. The fifth one, guys, this one is actually one of the worst that I've actually seen, and I don't know who it's supposed to benefit. It's automated application spam via different bots. We've seen it happen where people are saying applying for jobs has become a full-time job. And what they do is they pay these companies that actually apply on their behalf, and they can literally apply to more than 1,000 jobs in an hour. And that's one of the worst things that can ever happen. I think the logic is, why apply to one when you can just apply to 1,000? Because these bots are cheaper, you can pay far less. And then AI bots can actually mass apply to jobs with no personalization or human review. And some tools auto-respond to recruiters using scripted AI emails. And sometimes you can see, this email doesn't look right. And remember, recruiters are flooded with AI applications, degrading sometimes the specific systems that they're using. So auto-application bots are not really a great idea if you're really trying to, have an arm up or a leg up, whatever they call it. Because a lot of the time, there's nothing personalized about what you're trying to share with those particular people. By the late 2024, over 18% of job applications at large firms were flagged as bot submissions, because there are times when you can actually see this person has applied to over 1,000 jobs in the last 2 months. And you know that over that 1,000, they haven't even looked at the job description. All they've done is and you can see that they've just used that bot to apply for whatever they can find in that particular company. Remember, recruiters can see how many jobs you've applied to and which jobs you applied to and what stages you are at. One of the things that I always say, guys, is using AI to support your job search is very smart. Using it to lie, cheat, or deceive, that's a game you really will eventually lose, because somehow, somewhere, somebody's going to catch you and it might have devastating consequences for your career. So please, whatever you do, do not try and deceive people using AI by putting incorrect information in your applications. Ethical AI use in job search, this is what I want you guys to understand is. Use AI to correct grammar and tone. That's one of the best things you can actually use for AI. Number 2, get help brainstorming the STAR stories, STAR methodology of job interviews. Use AI to help you brainstorm the STAR stories that you're going to tell in your job. Number 3, practice with AI interview simulations. ChatGPT does that and it does it beautifully, or even Gemini can also do that. It does it in an amazing way. So please use that specifically for that. And lastly, analyze job descriptions for keywords that you can use in your resume, but please make sure that those keywords are also in line with what you've done in the past. If the AI can actually help you, use it specifically for that. Because here's the truth, guys. There's no AI powerful enough to actually fake passion, integrity, or even just real experiences. And those are the things that will truly get you hired. One of the things that I'd like you guys to do is be honest, be smart, and be human. Top of the morning once again with Tshidi. Until we meet again in the next video. Peace.